Well, thank y'all for coming tonight. We appreciate you being here. I wanted to be sure that we gave you an opportunity to come out and express exactly what my mama called and expressed to me a little over a month and a half ago when her water bill was $1,000. And we know that she's not using $1,000 worth of water. And we also knew that there were some other things that wasn't happening that would contribute to a water bill being that high. We went into the contract with Siemens a few years ago, and we anticipated that there would be some hiccups, but we did not anticipate that the hiccups would be as drastic as they are. The good thing is that we've been able to identify much of the issues and many of those problems that you all are having and why you're having them. And we want to be able to make sure that we tell you tonight what we're doing to address them, why you're seeing the increases in bills that you are seeing, and more than that, what we're going to be doing going forward. It's important that you understand that if your water bill is high and is not a result of your own, your water will not be turned off. All right? So we are not looking to turn off folks' water because the city is having issues. But we do want to make sure that you're not having the stress and the anxiety that comes with that, because we know that you are operating under a budget, and that budget does not, in most cases, allow you the opportunity to be able to deal with the kinds of bills that you have. So tonight we want to be as clear as we can. We want to address as many of your issues as we possibly can. And again, please know that the frustration that you all have, we are hearing about it. We are hearing about it personally, not just from family members. I got an aunt who told me already that I had 2 days to get her water bill taken care of, or she was going to unelect me, not when the election came, but she was going to unelect me sooner than that. So we hear you, trust me, we understand, and we want to be as transparent as we can about the process that we're using to address you all's issues. So what we're going to do tonight is we want to ask the Public Works Director to talk to you about the highlights, the primary issues that we have heard from you, that we have discovered during this process that has affected your water bill, why it's looking the way that it's looking, and to talk to you about going forward what we're going to do to remedy it and to fix it as well. And then from there, we're going to turn it over to you, give you an opportunity to voice your concerns, to talk to us about any of the things that we have not addressed through our time of dialogue with you prior to the Q&A. So thank y'all again for coming. We appreciate you. We don't devalue the service that you give to this system and to this enterprise through your payments and through you being a customer of the cities. And we want to make sure that we honor that with giving you quality service. So with that being said, we want to turn it over to Director Powell at this time. Director Powell, if you would come and just take us through the highlights of what's going on with this water bill issue.
Thank you. Good evening. The first thing that I want to reiterate that the mayor said off the bat is we have put a moratorium on water service cutoffs for high bills, except in the case where there are extreme delinquencies that existed before the billing system went into place, before we went live. So there have been a number of high bill issues, and I just want to explain to you what some of the issues are that we're seeing. And when we take questions, I'm sure there will be some other issues that I have not specifically seen or heard about. But I just last week spent 2 days at the Water Sewer Billing Administration. I've been there a couple times since the go live, and I know that it's been extremely frustrating. And the first thing that is very jarring is to get a bill. When you're used to seeing a bill for $60 every 2 months, to get a bill that is $60 for 1 month, or in some cases, a couple $100 for a 1 month bill. And we recognize that there have been billing errors. And the issue has been going from a 2-month billing period to a 1-month period. In order to make that transition, we had to estimate what we thought was every other month. And based on a formula that was established in the billing system. And the billing system has not been able to really work with that formula. And so we have seen a lot of cases where what was the estimate was actually the system was putting out bills with an estimated consumption or usage for the 2-month period as the 1-month period. And in some cases, the billing system caught those bills, and so we had hangups in the billing system that of thousands of accounts. So as of Friday, for instance, we had 22,000 billing segment errors in the system, which amounts to each your water and your sewer is 2 different billing segments. So that amounted to about 11,000 bills in the system that were hung up. So the problem with the estimating compounded into bills being hung up in the system. And so those bills have had to be manually processed by our staff in the Water Sewer Billing Administration. And because they're having to manually process those bills, which means they have to go into each of those bills to clear the errors, they have to do what's called an office estimate, looking at the history of your usage. So another issue that we found was that all of the billing history that we had available for some accounts did not transfer to the new system. So the staff is then working between the old system and the new system to make sure that we can do an office estimate because there's no read available so that we can get those bills out. And the reason why we're trying to get those bills out is because what some customers have experienced is you haven't received a bill for 2 or 3 months. And so then you get a bill that has 2 or 3 months of water usage on it. And so that's creating a high bill. So it was actual, in some cases, it was actual usage, kind of in line with your usage, but it was 2 or 3 months worth of usage, and so that creates a high bill. The other issue that we've experienced is, in order to produce bills, we had 2 months for the meter readers to go out and read the meters, get the reads back in, and get those bills, get customers billed off of those readings. Now our customers are having to read, our meter readers are having to read the same number of meters in a more condensed period. So most of our meter reader, we have groups that we call ledgers that have a couple thousand accounts in them each. Some of those ledgers take 3.5 days, some take 6 to read all of the meters. What the billing system was set up on was that it is expecting to have a read within 3 days of your scheduled bill date. So if the meter readers have read that meter outside of that 3-day window, then the system will create an estimate. Now on to the next problem. Those accounts that had estimates more than 2 or 3 times in a row, the system would no longer create an estimate. At that time, it's looking for an actual read. So to sum it all up, the transition to the new billing system just has not gone as was planned. And essentially, it's because we're going to a new way of doing business from an old way of doing business. We're going from bi-monthly to monthly. And operationally, resource-wise, we've had to make some adjustments. And still trying to focus on getting the most accurate bills we can out. So it's taken us longer to process manually those bills. So that's why we said during this period until the system stabilizes, we're not looking to shut anyone's water off unless you had delinquency prior to, and there have been those cases where there are bills that are high because there was no payments on the bills. In some cases, um, we hadn't received payments on some bills in more than 6 months. And that was well prior to the new billing system going online. Moving forward, we have the new meters in place. We have 3 groups of meters, which amounts to about 8,000 meters that we're reviewing, that Siemens has turned in to be accepted to be automated reads that go into the system. So we're going through one of those groups at a time as quickly as possible to check them to make sure that the data is accurate so it can start feeding the billing system as was planned so that those meters no longer have to be read. And that should be accurate data coming straight from your meter into the billing system, or those meters coming straight to the billing system. We're going to post a map online with those areas where those meters will be sending automated reads so that everybody is aware of where that is. I think there hasn't been there's been buckets of issues with the bills, and we're trying to understand what has happened and how best we make those adjustments to fix it, to get those, to get bills corrected. So with that, I think we can open it up for questions.
Thank you, Director Powell. Okay, 1 second. Hold on 1 second. So let me just say this really quickly. It's a lot of us in here, and it's a little warm in here. So to respect each person's time, if we can try to, as best as we can, to be as quiet as possible so that each person that the people at the table, the ladies and gentlemen at the table can hear the question and so that the person at the podium can hear the answer. I really would appreciate that because we are recording this, and I want to make sure that your voices are heard. So can we all agree to that? I appreciate you. Okay, so this is how we're going to do this. We're going to start to my left, and I want each person that wants to speak, you're going to raise your hand, and I'll have you come to the podium just so we can keep it controlled as possible. Like I said, there's a lot of us in here, and I'm a little girl, and I don't want to get ran over, okay? So if we can all just be respectful of each other's time and each person speaking so that the people on the podium can hear and that your concern can be heard. I appreciate that. So you go first, sir. Please state your name. Like I said, Ms. Gill, are you ready? Okay.
Yes, my name is Greg Monaghan. And my thing is that when it comes to the issue of the water meters, just like anything else, it's just like if you go to a service station to buy gas, then if those gas meters are calibrated, water meters are calibrated. So if you're going to estimate it, who knows what one meter might say and what the next meter might say. Same thing about a gas station. You can go to one gas station, it's $1.25. The next gas station is $2.25. Those stickers on those gas stations, those should be stickers on the meters. And if Siemens messed up, Siemens should be responsible for the problem, not the citizens of Jackson.
Thank you for your comment. In terms of the estimating, what has been estimated, or what was the attempt to estimate, was based on your average usage for a 30-day period. And again, the issue came where the system could not accurately estimate a monthly usage for the 30-day period. And in most cases, it was because there wasn't a read right before the go-live period. We've checked bills where folks had reads right before the go-live, which was the end of August, and the system did not have an issue estimating those bills. Folks that were what I consider read off cycle, where the read was a month prior, the last read, or 2 months prior to the go live, the system had a problem estimating, changing a bi-monthly consumption to a monthly estimate. However, we are getting regular reads in the system. There are bills going out now that have actual reads, and so if you get a bill and it doesn't say EST after it, that is an actual read. And what the staff has done when these bills have gotten hung up in the system, because some other issues we experienced with the timeliness of getting bills out, was that if the estimated usage was higher than, and was high, and the regular read came in and it did not fit the estimated usage, meaning the estimate was higher than the actual read, that got stuck in the system as well. So the staff has had to go back and basically override that estimate to get a bill out that's based on your actual usage. So I just want to be clear, we are not interested in, this is not a for-profit operation. We're not interested in having people pay more than what you should be paying. These are unanticipated issues. Siemens has been, and they're here, they've been made aware of the issues since go live, and they have been working with us to get these issues addressed, including as late as last week when we determined that we had so many bills that were getting stuck in the system. Our staff took 10,000 accounts and manually put in reasonable consumption for the estimate and did not allow the system to estimate those bills. When a regular read comes in, there will be a true up, and that account should be okay.
Ma'am, I don't mean to be rude, I'm just saying, those meters are calibrated. Either it should read right or it shouldn't.
Well, the issue isn't with the meter in this case. The issue is with the billing system itself. We are still in the process of manually reading meters. So the issue is not with the meter. The issue is with the estimates are being made in the billing system, not the meter.
Good evening. My question is, how can your water bill jump from $63 to $93 in 1 month since you have the new system in? It's not working, and I know it's not because I've been there to watch the people that do it. Nobody's coming out. And if you tell them about it, then everybody in the whole city get upset with you and try to run everything they can upon you. So I need to know that answer.
I'm not sure I understood your question. And again, if you have a bill that you think does not reflect your usage, so if you were used to getting a bi-monthly bill of say $60 and you received a bill that wasn't closer to $30 for a monthly period, then there's likely an issue, particularly if you don't have an actual read, and that is something that we will correct. So if you want to leave your information, I can make sure that we check your account and make sure that everything is okay and that we get it corrected. If you want to see me afterward, I can take your name and address. Mhm.
Hi, my name is Teresa Jameson. I think I fall in the category of other because I have had I had an over $10,000 water bill. I got a plumber out there, took the plumber's statement to the water company. They adjusted the bill, and it came out to be, it's over $7,000 now. I haven't had water in years. So I want to know, what can I do to get it on? Out there was a leak. I wasn't there. Nobody came out there to turn it off. And I don't know what to do. I mean, we need water.
Let me get your, yeah. Let me get your account information afterward. Um, Another issue that I've seen is that there have been some high bills where we believe that the customer may have a leak just because of there was a jump in the usage. However, it was no proof has come in that there has been a leak on the property for it to be adjusted. In some cases, just payment has not been made. So if you have a leak, you do have to address the leak on your property, and we can do an adjustment. The best thing to do if you think you have a leak on your property, or if it is so high, the usage is so high, you can request a reread, and we'll come and take a look at the meter, make sure the meter is functioning properly, make sure that there's no leak on the city side of the meter, and if it seems that you have a leak on your side of the meter, then we'll suggest to you that you need to get a plumber to have it taken care of so that you can get an adjustment. But we cannot adjust the bill based on our regulations until we actually have proof that there was a leak on the property and that it has been addressed. One of the things that you'll be able to see when looking at your usage, if you are viewing it online, if you have the ability to look at it online, look at your usage, or even on your bill, tracking with the little bar graph, if you see a spike, and you know that you have not used that water, then that's probably a good indication that there is a leak associated with it. But I'll take a look at yours too.
Are you saying that you haven't lived there? Are you saying that you haven't lived at the residence? Oh, okay. Yeah, she said she doesn't have it. Okay.
But yeah, but there was a time that I did move out, and now I'm back, and I've been back for quite some time. So I want to know, someone in a situation as mine, a bill so high, how can I get water on and can I get some payment arrangements or something? Because I need water. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, so payment arrangements are, you're able to make payment arrangements.
I can make some payment arrangements, but I can't make a whole lot. I can do something.
Yeah, so we can address that with you individually and put you in a situation where you can have a payment arrangement once we had an opportunity to talk with you specifically about your specific issue.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Jean Comley. I'm on the Board of Directors for our Homeowners Association at Chateau Royal Condominiums. We have 81 homeowners, and our billing is 1 meter. So I think that's like a commercial meter,
Master
perhaps.
meter.
All right, it's 1. Do I understand that if we have any water leaks there and we have them repaired, we can submit that to you for an adjustment in our bill?
Correct. If there has been an issue on your property with a leak and you have proof of that, and that was causing the high bill, yes.
Well, all right, so we would not know, actually. We'd have to show it to you and compare it to the bill.
Right.
Well, we have had billings in the past 8 months range from $10,000 to $3,000.
And that's for all of the
Each month,
units?
we have, yes, for the entire property. The $10,000 bill was adjusted by $7,700. So our bills are usually in the $3,000 range. Our most recent one was $5,000
Okay,
with no change in the property.
okay.
So we're very concerned because we have an annual budget. We are, of course, a not-for-profit organization, and the annual budget was set at almost $4,000. And to try and make that adjustment when you have no cash flow income is very difficult, and we're affecting 81 property owners.
Okay.
My other point that I wanted to draw to your attention, for several decades, our water bill has had an area that I call hidden charges. There is a part of the water bill that's not broken down, but it is a fee for every homeowner in our condominium area for a meter charge. We don't have meters for each person, we have one. But we have continued to pay for decades a fee per homeowner, as if the city had a meter at each person's door and was reading a meter. So we really would appreciate help in looking into that to see if that can be corrected.
Okay.
Other than that, we appreciate the information that you've given to us, and we don't have any city maintenance on our properties at all. So if there's ever a water leak, a major pipe, we had a city water pipe break in our condominium area, and we had to pay thousands of dollars to fix it.
Okay.
So we're not causing any kind of expense to the city, but we really would like to get our water bills stabilized, and we would like to know if that charge could be taken off for 81 meters that we don't have.
And I'll get your information as well and look at the account specifically.
Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Yes, I'm Joanne Monaghan, Manogin. I have a problem with my water bill because I'm one person staying in the house. My water bill is $214. And then when I went to see Yarber, or whoever's in his office, Yarber in his office, gave me a paper that it wouldn't, and then I get a bill Saturday, and my bill is $267.55. Now, there's late charges onto this bill, which one they supposed to be taken care of. But it's late charges on the bill. So, if I can't pay $214, how am I gonna pay $267 then?
So let me ask,
The paper is right here.
okay.
And here's my
And-
water bill I got Saturday.
So the question that I was gonna ask you,
And there's one person in the house now. I don't have no sprinklers in my yard. One person in the house. How did and I don't wash until on Saturday. So how is my bill two something?
the question that I was gonna ask you is if
There's
you,
no leak.
not if there was a leak, but have you received a bill every month since August?
Okay, you don't know what's on this bill right here. Let me see. This is, yeah, because this is 10/1/15. And then the next one is 11/3/15.
Okay. So
Yes.
I can take a look at that after this
And if
meeting.
one person is at home, and I work every day, so how in the world I use $200 and some worth of water?
And it doesn't, are you?
And you said something about that whatever it was on the EST. Okay, the one that came Saturday, it's got 304 on there. And the one that came the day I was, the 10th, 16th, it's got 315 on there.
315 is the usage,
Yes?
and what was the usage?
304.
Okay.
And that's where I got 267 on there.
So did you compare the usage that the bill corresponds to your usage prior to when you were getting a bi-monthly
Hey, I
bill?
don't even be at home, so how in the world I'm using that much water? And I don't wash it on Saturday.
Okay. I'll take a look at your bills afterwards. The question I'm trying to get to is whether or not you did not get a bill for a couple of months, and
I haven't missed
that one bill includes a couple of months of usage.
Okay, this right here say 10th, and the other one say 11th. So no, I hadn't missed getting a bill.
Okay, so I'll take a look at them afterward.
My name is Nelson Wiley, and my question has to do with in the area of where you pay your bill. If you go to the main location, which is at Metro, can you tell me why you do not accept a debit card as a form of payment?
Well, we have not accepted debit cards as a form of payment there prior to this project. And that's not something that was part of this project, but something that we are assessing. The systems that we have there are not set up to take a debit card payment. It's cash or check.
I know, but the rest, I understand what you said in the answer, but the other two utilities, they will accept the debit card.
The other two utilities,
Energy,
yes,
Atmos,
right. Well, our system is not set up to take debit cards at this point in time. That wasn't part of this project, but that is something that we want to assess for the future.
thank you.
Sure.
Sir, my name is Paul Johnson, and I'm in Chapter Tillman's ward, should I say. But my question is the old meters versus the new meters. What was so wrong with the old meters, and why are we getting such a discrepancy in the counts? And that's a question there. And why do we have a problem manually reading the meters if there's so much wrong? There's the erroneous reading with the electric meters and new meters. Why can't we just continue reading them manually until we get the system fixed, adjusted, whatever it takes? It makes no sense to me to see these questions about $2,000 or $3,000 bills when you've had a problem, maybe a couple of $100 bill earlier. But anyway, that's something that I guess you all are working on, and I appreciate that. And if there's a problem, then someone comes out to read the meter. Our Siemens people worked on this, I understand. And I'm asking the question, well, who's monitoring Siemens? If Siemens is doing all of this, I mean, someone from the city has to take that step to monitor them, make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. Because the citizens of Jackson are being hurt right now. And I got my meter changed in August. I haven't received a bill yet either. I cringe to think about what it might look like. But I'm going to get a bill. I know that, and we're going to talk about it. So thank you so very much, and I'm sure you all are working on it, but help us out now. Let's get this fixed.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. I'm going to address at least two of them, and I'll ask Director Powell to talk about the manual, why we're not just simply going out having meter readers actually read the meters. The old versus the new meters. When this system was first introduced to the administration, which was the Harvey Johnson administration at that time, the idea was that the Siemens project would assist the city in saving money that we were not saving in the beginning. So the city's losing probably about 40% of its water. And I think that was talked about in a great deal when water rates were talked about being increased a few years ago. So what they discovered was that you got an old meter, and this is the best way I can put it. Not long ago, I bought a brand new scale to weigh me. Okay, the scale that I bought to weigh me reflected that I was about 5 pounds heavier than my old scale was reporting. And what we discovered is that the old scale, I think the gentleman who was here earlier talked about being calibrated, but the old scale, just because of the age of it, it wasn't measuring as accurately as this new scale. So come to find out, I really weigh 219 and I don't weigh 214 like I thought I weighed. So when the change out happened, the guarantee from Siemens was that we would be able to capture usage fees with the new meters, where we were losing them with the old meters because they weren't reading as right or as appropriately as they should have been. So that's what the meter project, that's how it came about. That's how it was sold to the council when I was on it. The other piece has to do with who's monitoring Siemens. Well, you know, I take a lot of pride in the fact that our administration was the administration that said to Siemens stop. We said stop because we came in and saw that there were issues, and that as we looked down the road and we looked into November of 2015, we kind of already had an idea that we were going to be seeing some of these issues. And so what we said to Siemens almost 7 or 8 months ago was pump the brakes. You can't go any further until we are clear that you actually have a path to get us out of this mess. Well, the problem is that the path out of this mess has been longer than we thought and longer than we would have liked for it to have been. Unfortunately, we were already in a contracted situation that we could not get out of, and so what we're now having to do is try to work through these issues and make sure that we do it as fast as we can so that you all are not having to bear the brunt of this pain that you're having to bear. So to answer your question, who is watching Siemens? We are watching Siemens. We are now having meetings with top executives from Siemens monthly, and we're doing that where we hadn't been doing that before now. So we're watching, and we're trying to be as pointed as we can to make sure that folks who are accountable are being held accountable, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So I appreciate your question and give me an opportunity to address that.
Are we still reading cubic foot per meter, per gallon? We're still measuring that?
Yes.
That's the same?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Annette Ficklin, and I live in the Norwood area. My problem started when they changed my meter back in April, and it had not been the same. And they said, well, just to make sure you don't have a water leak. I got the plumber come out, he fixed it. It's still high. It's still not coming to what it should be. Like the lady said, I'm only about to live in the house. Grandchildren comes over every now and then. So I like to see adjusted in. Plus, we've been had a water break and running out there since August, in our street, on Nearing Trail. It's been running since August.
Well, we want to address those issues as they come up, and I think we said time and time again that we actually have anticipated most of the issues that we're seeing. So I think that we've got some folks who will be able to sit down with you and look to try to determine exactly what that particular issue is, whether they're one of the ones that the director talked about earlier or not. But we want to be able to identify what that issue is. And you're right, if you're the only person in the house and you don't have a leak or any of those other kinds of things, then there's no, rational, reasonable reason why you should have. Mm-hmm. So the plumber came out and said that so there was a leak, he fixed it. So there's a question that, because that came up again, and the question that generated in my mind that I want to have asked is, I wonder if maybe the erroneous bills are also being factored into the estimation as well. So that'll be something that we probably need to look at on our end to determine whether or not, say for instance, you had a $10,000 bill that was way out of whack, but your normal bill, as the lady at the condominiums talked about, is around $10,000. So if the estimation, I'm sorry, $3,000. I apologize. I'm wondering if whether or not that 10,000 is being factored into the process to estimate the bill. So we need to look at that, and if that's the case, that could actually be the reason why, and that's an easy fix in my opinion.
Right. That's a good point that you raised, Mayor. There were cases where if you had a leak and your consumption was high, what we do when we adjust a bill is we adjust the dollars, not the consumption. So we can take a look at your particular account, but it was when you had the leak and then you still had issues, was the meter checked? Right. So did you have the meter checked to make sure that the meter was functioning properly as well? Okay. Well, we can check the meter for you and take a look at your account. That the plumber made the repair? Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is David. I'm in Ward 1. I guess I've been lucky. I haven't had one of those $1,000 bills. But now, my bill as of 10/23, I paid that bill. I've been trying to contact the water department because I haven't got my November bill. And the time you call the water department, you call that number. I was 28. Okay. So they said, you're number 28 on the waiting list. So I waited another hour, 2 hours, called back. They said, you're number 28 on the waiting list. And, you know, and you can't really reach these people anymore. But on the pay side, you can get them. But on the water side, where you have a complaint or want to know how much your bill is, because I called today about 4 times to try to find out how much is my bill. And I'm one of the nosy ones in the neighborhood because I'm retired. I get an actual reading, and I asked the guy, what's my numbers? Now, last month, I asked him what was my numbers. When I got my bill, my numbers was what he told me that they were. So I don't have any problem with that, but the problem that I have, because I like to pay my utilities on time, because when you're retired, you know, you don't get no overtime or anything like that, so if you don't pay it, I don't want to get, you know, 2 or 3 months behind and try to catch up, because you can't catch up. But when you call, you don't get no answer. And I had them to come out and cut my water off in August. Bill had been paid $118 a week before the expiration date. Somebody just came out and cut my water off on a Saturday, and I called downtown, and they said, well, we don't send people out on Saturday to cut water off. Well, I said, well, my water's off, and I couldn't get any help, so I had to go out there and cut it back on myself, because I knew my bill was paid, and I got the receipt, and somebody just whacked my water off, and I couldn't get no response on the Saturday or anything. So, but my point is, why don't I have my November bill? And I got 2 estimated bills here. I got my 9/21 was the estimated bill, my 10/23 was the estimated bill, and I haven't received my bill for this month.
Well, it sounds like your read date hasn't come up yet, or your billing date hasn't come up yet. If you're getting your bills around the 20th or the 21st of the month.
No.
Am I?
That's when it's due. It's 10/8 is the read.
10/8 was your read date.
Read date.
So then you're probably in the bucket of folks that we've had to manually process to get those bills out.
Well, I've been manual process because I already got my numbers. Because when the guy came out and read it,
So
I said, what's my numbers? And he gave me my numbers.
Someone has read your meter.
Read my bill already.
Right. However, the bill the bill itself has not been processed to go out. So as of Friday, because we've had to manually process bills, even bills that have had actual reads, we were backed up to getting September 25th and 28th bills out. So there is a backup in getting those bills out because the system has created billing errors in some cases, and we've had to manually process those bills, even where there have been actual reads. So I can take your address and name after, or you can give it to someone, and we can check and follow up with you.
But I would just like to know just one other thing. Why can't you reach anyone on the phone?
And I was going to answer the first question. We have a very limited call center staff. We have about 6 or 7 folks in the call center, and because of all the issues, our phone lines have been flooded. So it's been very difficult to get calls in. Additionally, last week, our phone lines went down, so we didn't have phone service in the call center at all. Why you're able to get someone on the payment side is because that's automated and that's through a third party.
Okay, thanks a lot, and I hope you all, get it together. And it's a rumor going around of how many people in the house is how you pay your water bill too. I mean, you all need to squash that.
How many? Okay.
If you got 10, I'm just telling you what's going on in the rumor mill that you all is charging as on how many people in the house.
No, it's charged based on your usage. Now, it makes sense that if you have more people in the house that you probably are using more water.
Hi, I'm community activist, civil rights activist Vogel Denise Newsom, and I just have a few questions, about 3. My first question is, you all mentioned the contractor is Siemens. I just wanted to find out, how did you all go about selecting Siemens, and was that company vetted? The reason being, if I'm not mistaken, my background is doing paralegal work, and Siemens' name, when it was projected or given out, I believe they have issues, if you check their record, with faulty meters, the issues that Jackson's having, as well as some of the areas like in Utica, Bolton, and Edwards. So my concern is whether or not, when you all went with Siemens, did you all check their track record? I stand to be corrected, but that's what stood out when I heard you all project that name of Siemens. I believe they have a history of this type of issue. The mayor mentioned something about being in a contract. And I'm not here to give legal advice because, like I said, I'm a paralegal. If you enter a contract with Siemens and it's under fraudulent intent, in other words, they have this record, there is a legal and lawful way to get out of that contract. My next question is, how were they selected, whether or not there were other contractors that came forth, and how did they get the contract? And then also, wanting to know, because I hear citizens talking about contacting you all, the best way to probably do it, a suggestion is to send things certified mail so that they will have a record. But those are my questions in regards to when Siemens popped out to me.
So when I was on council, I think maybe 2012 was when the conversation about this performance savings piece came up. There were 2 companies at the time. There was Johnson Controls, who had a team of people on their side who were going after the contract, and there was also Siemens, who had a team of local contractors who were on their team as well. If I'm not mistaken, at that time, the mayor selected, I guess, what he deemed to be the most appropriate team. That team was put before the council to be voted on. The council voted on it, and that's where we are. The issue when we talk about the contracting and whether or not we wanted to try to get out of it, this administration's position from the beginning was that we thought that there could have been a better contractual situation. However, we had gotten so far along in the process that there would have been, in some cases, some irreparable harm done, because we'd already taken out $90 million. And so we have to pay $90 million back. So let's say we decide we're not going to go with Siemens anymore, and we terminate the contract, and that termination does not fall in line with the termination process in the contract. Well, we're then on the hook, and we still have a $90 million responsibility to repay that money. So while, again, this administration knew and understood that the contract was problematic in several ways, but at that point, we were already invested. We were already down the street, and so what we are is trying to wade through the mud in order to get to better waters so that we can have a better situation in the city. But you're absolutely right. The things you're talking about are things that we considered. But it's 2015. That was 2012. I think the actual contract may have been ratified in 2013. And so you're talking about a contract that has gone over the course of 3 different mayors.
And I appreciate that, because when I was away, prior to coming back, there was another deal called the swap deal. And that swap deal involved a big, huge law firm here in Jackson, Mississippi, who knows me very well, by the law firm of Baker, Donaldson, Bierman, Caldwell, and Berkowitz. They came through Jackson and ran this swap deal on Jackson and cleaned the people out, basically. When I read that article when I was in Kentucky, I said, this is unacceptable. But they came in with a big bank called J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, okay, in Wall Street. We're putting members in Jackson, and these law firms are coming in with these scams, what I call them, and cleaning the people out. The people need to know. Now, so like with Siemens, I mean, there's a legal process in which the people can follow, but I'm concerned as a community activist and civil rights activist, these heavily populated African-American or Black American communities like Jackson, Utica. Okay, is this going on in Rankin, Madison? Then I have to take issue with that. And the people need to know that they have a legal and lawful right to bring a lawsuit against the city of Jackson, naming you in your individual capacity. Powell, Siemens, whoever the board members are. Because this is unacceptable. Moving in through eminent domain. I mean, I'm familiar with the law firm. They know me very well. They've only been pursuing me for 25 years. Okay, they represent the Phil Bryant. We have a lot of issues, and the people are suffering. So I thank you all for the time, but I'm very passionate about it. But it's time to quit taking advantage of the African American population and the people.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm clear, that we're clear on the fact that we initiated this conversation about there being issues. We initiated this almost 9 months ago when nobody was talking about there was a potential problem. So that was a conversation that this mayor and this administration said, everybody hold on, we got a problem coming. And we're going to address this problem, not in November. We're going to start trying to address this problem in January and February. And there were lots of conversation around this city when I said pump the brakes on this thing. And there were a lot of people who were upset about that. And a lot of them were the powers that be that you talk about. So I hear you. I am with you 185%. And my responsibility is to the folks, not only in this room, but to my mama at 1723 Dewey Street with that $1,000 water bill. So we got to get that stuff handled, and we're going to get it handled. And that's why we're here today, to sit in front of you all, to give you the opportunity to talk to us about those issues that you're experiencing individually. And we're saying that we are the right team at the right time to make sure that we deal with this stuff so that it's not dealing with our city inappropriately. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Ronnie Brown. I have a very light issue compared to everyone else. Got some dates here. I just want to understand my bill. We tried to go down to the water people, and they told us that they couldn't help us. But I got a date here from 8/20 to 9/23. The bill was $55. I thought that was very good. I have a date here from 9/23 to 10/26, 161. Thought that would make me okay. But I got a double bill from 9/23 to 10/29. That bill jumped to 6/19 within a 3-day period. So I'm just asking, is there something wrong with my bill? Or?
There's something absolutely wrong with that. Yeah, there's absolutely something wrong with that. And Ms. Brown, we want to go ahead.
I was gonna say, after the usage, if I could see your bill, does it say EST after the usage? Okay. Mhm.
All right, so we'll let her look at that and get with you right after this, Ms. Brown. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Joe Braden. I live in the Brook Hollow subdivision. I have two questions and one statement.
Yes, sir.
The first question is, why isn't there a representative from SEMA here tonight?
There he is.
It is?
Yes, sir.
It must be him.
No, sir.
My second question is, I haven't received a water bill since August. I cut my yard every day, twice a week. I got 2 stones on my water meter, and they haven't been moved. No one has read my meter. When we do get a water bill, it's estimated.
Right.
So my water bill jumped from $72 to $100, from $100 to $160. And something is awfully wrong, and I don't have a new meter. I have an old meter, but no one is reading it. Because I'm retired, I be at home every day. I sit under my carport, read the paper every morning. And the only somebody that I've seen was Energy, read meters. And he didn't want to go on the side of my house to read my meter, but I told him he had to go, you know. That's my statement. Thank you.
Yes, sir. What's your name again?
Joe Brady.
Brady? Okay, okay, Braden. Okay, Mr. Braden. Make sure you see somebody. All right.
Hello, my name is Tara Tart, and I'm gonna try and make it real plain. I'm one of the ones who hadn't received a bill in a couple of months. So now here I am accumulating these bills, and I'm behind and I can't catch up. So my question is, where can we go to get assistance? I've tried Human Resources, I've tried Good Samaritan, Salvation Army. Nobody helps with water bills. So my question is, where can I go to get assistance?
What, you go on the Hines County Human Resource Agency?
On Maddox Road.
And what they tell you?
They don't assist with water bills. This was months ago when it first happened. I've talked to them several times, and she turned me away.
I think the issue is they don't have a lot of money in the program. If we could get your information as well, we'll be able to provide you some information for that.
I had a situation last year about my water bill. I didn't get a water bill for 4 months. So I had to call the water company to tell them to come out and check my meter. And when they did, I had like a $400 and some bill that I had to pay. But I did. So I had another situation that happened. I had a house that was next door to me. It was leaking water. So it was coming out from I think the ceiling of the house. So it was running through the back of my house. So I had the water company come out there to check it. And they said it's not on my property, so they turned the water off. So after that, they had a meter leak over there. So I kept calling them, telling them, look, I have a meter leak at somebody else's property and it's abandoned. So they still didn't come. I called them about 2 or 3 times. They didn't come. So anyway, I had got a meter leak myself. And I didn't know it due to the fact of all that other water running through the drains. So I didn't know. But when I did find out, when it was raining one particular day when I was backing up, you know, leaving my driveway. But my maintenance men with my landlord, they decided to come out and fix it the same day it happened. So I did call the water company and let them know I did have a meter leak. So when I got the bill, it was $3,700. And I was like, I can't do this, single mother of 3 children. So what I did is this. She told me to talk to my landlord and get the receipt stating that the plumber came out and fixed it. And I said, well, do I need to try to pay some of this bill? She said, no, don't worry about it. Just wait till your bill come out. I said, okay then. So when I got the bill again, once they adjusted, it was $1,500. So I've been paying on it. I got it down to $300. So even though my landlord, that's not my home, I'm renting it. Now I am on HUD. And I went to HUD and told HUD about the situation. They said they couldn't do anything, but that's between me and my landlord. So I had to do what I had to do. And by my landlord knows the situation, I had to come out of pocket my own. And I'm on a fixed income, so it was kind of hard for me to do, but I did it. But I'm still trying to pay on it. But when I did address it before with them, they was like, well, you know, I had to keep paying it. And I said, well, I don't have the money to pay how y'all wanted me to pay. They wanted me to start off $500, and I couldn't do it. I said, well, let me get on your payment plan. And she said, well, we don't have a payment plan. That was what she told me. So I said, well, I'll pay what I can. So I had to borrow the money to pay the bill. So when I asked for a payment plan from another supervisor, she said, oh, we got a payment plan. I said, okay, put me on it. And she said, well, you got to pay this amount of money first before you can get on it. I said, well, I already paid this amount. And, you know, they got it down, well, like I said, I got it down to $300. And they said that I would have a bill every month. It'll be, I just got a bill of $127. And that's from October the 19th through the 11th of this month. But anyway, make a long story short, and I asked her why it was so high. And always my bill is like $109 every 2 months. So I didn't understand it. But even though they did put me on the last payment plan, you know, I was like, I didn't understand it, you know, why it's so high like that, you know. But that's all I want to know. Why is it like that?
What we can do is take a look at your account and try to help you understand what's happened, but because it sounds like there was a couple of things. There was a leak, and then there may have been a billing issue. We can sort that out with you. As far as the payment plan goes, the city's old billing system did not allow us to capture payment plans in the system. So any payment plans that were made was more practice and not part of the city's policy. And that was tracked in a spreadsheet on the side. And the practice was supposed to have been that the city would require a third of the total amount due on the bill in order to enter into a payment plan. And if your bill was not over a certain amount, then you could not have payment arrangements. And I think it was something like $100. If your bill was not over $100, then they would not do a payment plan. We have just had updated policies developed that will be reviewed and put in place that is very clear about what the city's policy is around billing, collections, and meter reading. And will be some of the things that I've heard here tonight about the customer service and the responsiveness of our staff. We will be addressing those issues. But we will make it clear what the city's policies are going forward in terms of a payment plan or payment arrangements. The new billing system that we have has a module for us to capture a payment plan. And that will be attached to the account, and we'll have a record of it so that it's no longer a manual process that was not very well tracked. So we'll review your account and try to help you understand where things stand.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Honorable Mayor Yarber, City Administrator Ms. McCoy, Ms. Powell. My name is Othel Burton. My wife and I have been residents of this city since the early 1970s. And I'm here to make a brief statement and offer something for consideration. Let me applaud you for having this public hearing, but if you had this hearing all over the city, you would see people here who are suffering and, as you well know, are just troubled by perhaps the most pressing issue in the city. We have several, and I know you're on top of trying to address those, but this water billing system is something that predates you even as a very young man. This probably goes back to 40 years under Russell Davis and all that came after him in terms of this utility system not being able to pay for itself. There were people who didn't pay the bills. There were big companies who didn't pay the bills. There were folks who got whatever they call it, benefits from it. And so when the decision was made to put this system in place, it just happened under your watch. And it's very troubling for you and for all of us. Let me offer this one suggestion. You need more time to implement it. I mean, there's a lot of things. There are people who, not for their fault, maybe some for their fault, some big businessmen, big companies. But you need more time to put in place your plan. I'm just offering a suggestion. Maybe a moratorium, 90 days, 120 days, 6 months. Hold the monthly bills at some kind of rate you and your people, your water business people, your public works people can determine till you work out the kinks. You got to get the meter reader right. You've got the water sewer business office. You need more people. If you got to hire them part-time, get them in there to answer these calls. I mean, these are our folks, black and white, old and young. The ones who want to do right will do right. We know what an enterprise system is. Give us time to get it right. You'd be well appreciated if you just give them time to get it right. As far as Siemens, that's a corporate company that's made a lot of money out of Jackson over a number of years. Well, and I'm not saying negative because that's capitalism. It goes along with democracy. But if they're good corporate citizens, they can be willing to talk to you and the city council about renegotiating a contract to put, if this moratorium goes for whatever period of time, to make the money on the back end. Give the citizens a time that they can adjust to these changes, that they can manage those. We don't know what a monthly bill really looks like, okay? We don't know what it looks like. You don't know what it looks like. The best of your, and that's not negative, help us to get it straight. You've got good intentions. It just happens to be under your watch that the right thing is put in place to help us pay for this utility system. Okay, let's implement it timely. Get some of the pain off our backs so that we can pay what we can pay until we get the system right in terms of how to build. I thank you very much.
Yeah. Dr. Burden, I appreciate you, Dr. Burden, and I'll call you tomorrow to see how this ought to look. And for free, though, right? You're not charging. Amen. All right. Bless your heart. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. My name is Gilbert Coleman. I'm from the W.P. Moore subdivision located in Georgetown. I'm here for the same reason, but I have a water problem. I brought a sample with me. Would you like to take a look at it? I also brought some pictures with me. Would you like to take a look at it?
I'll get that.
That is the water in my community. I have no clue. I have no clue. I can't the health department, where they won't look at it, I can't get no one to look at it, so I say, well, this may be the best place for me to bring it to.
It looks like they were trying to flush the system through using the hydrants, because it was likely that a discolored water complaint was called in.
Well,
So-
it wasn't called in. They just happened to come out and flush the water. But the water been there all the time.
Well, there are specific locations where we have discolored water issues, and the staff go to those areas to flush the hydrants. But this is an indication of the buildup in the water mains. They're old, they have not been replaced, and over time, you get this buildup in the water mains from the chemicals that we use to treat the water, and it becomes discolored. So that's what this is, settling out of the water.
Well, I have not just that sample, that's present, that's most recently. I have samples from 2005, same way, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. I've been in that area going on 15 years, and that water been there. It's right there today. It's right there today. I can run a tub of water, and it's right there.
Yeah.
And what my question is, we voted on a 1% tax hike to fix the infrastructure. I haven't seen anything, you know, it's really basic. You know, if I pay my water bill on time, look like my payment will apply to my account, and whatever the problem with the system is just apply my payment to my account. I think that'll help a lot of issues, a lot of situations. But I'm looking at it, something that need to be addressed, but it's not being addressed.
And part of the reason it hasn't been addressed is because we have not had the funds to make the capital improvements to replace water mains that need to be replaced. And you talked about the 1% sales tax. We are starting to get projects underway to address infrastructure, including water mains, but we need a larger capital improvement program, which we've been developing to specifically address water line issues. And this is, you brought in a perfect example. If I could get the name of your street, we can take a look at, because it could be size related. We have several areas where there's some 2- and 4-inch water line, which leads to more discoloration and pressure issues. But this is a citywide problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
Reason I brought that is because I have kids there living in that community, and the kids not have knowledge of what they're drinking. And so whatever that is in the bottom that can get in your system, and you can fall ill, and you never know why you're ill. There's a lot of people in my community have respiratory problems, and you know, and after a certain period of time, those chemicals, if it sit there for 10 years, then it can sit in your body also. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, your comment about you having a sample from 2005, it's exactly what we've been talking about all along. The fact that, you know, and I tell the story every now and then about in 1985 how I would go up to West Side, went up to West Side School Community Center with my grandmama for a neighborhood meeting. And the mayor at that time, they were talking about the same stuff we're talking about tonight, they were talking about in 1985. And that's a problem. When in 2015, we're talking about the same stuff that we were talking about in 1985. And so even with the 1% sales tax, let me just be real honest with you. The 1% sales tax, we're generating about anywhere from $11 to $13 million a year. $11 to $13 million a year is what we're generating, or we'll generate from that. That's out of $1.5 billion that we'll need over the next 20 years in order to address all of this stuff. I wish we could go back to 2014 where I would bring the pipe that goes with that water that showed buildup in the pipe about that thick I think it was about a 6-inch line maybe, where that buildup in that pipe was about that thick. And it's exactly what you're talking about. The fact that this can has been kicked down the road for almost 40 years, and in some cases, 70 years, where we got the same lines in the same communities, and the sister talked about that earlier, where resources haven't been put in areas where they should have been placed, but they were not. And so the deal was disproportionately done. But what we want to make sure that we're doing going forward is addressing this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, these growing pains hurt. And they're hurting bad. And our responsibility is to see how we can alleviate as much of that, as much of these growing pains as we possibly can until we get the clean water. But the truth of the matter is that we just got a plan in place. I mean, this city has its first infrastructure master plan. You would think that if your water was that color, that there would have been a plan in place already. But we just got a plan in place over the last 18 months to address this. And so as we are going forward, what we're saying to y'all is while we understand clearly that it ain't our fault, but we also understand it's our responsibility. And we're going to take responsibility for it, and we want you to understand that while it's not our fault, we are taking responsibility. We just need you to work with us as we attempt to do everything we can to make sure we're holding folks accountable, to make sure that we're getting this water the color that it needs to be, and to make sure that when you call down to the Water Sewer Billing Administration, that there's enough staffing available to be able to answer the phone. We're working on building up and beefing up the staffing levels right now. We're going through hiring additional people to help us with that. They've got to be trained in order to come online. But I guess over the last 2 minutes, what I've tried to say to you is we know the bigness of this problem, and that's why we worked on putting a plan in place, finding the money to get it done. Getting over $20 million within the course of a week over the last several weeks in order to address this stuff. So that's what we're doing. And I hear you. I've been out there with Councilman Stokes, and we walked around the neighborhood and seen stuff from dilapidated houses to messed up infrastructure to streets that need to be resurfaced. We got a lot of problems. And we didn't get here overnight. We won't get out of it overnight, but we will get out of it.
I also come in the spirit of light.
Yes, sir.
GHT.
Yep.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my creator to monitor this situation. I think, this land belongs to the light side of the spirit. So I'm going to send my prayer to him, about this meeting tonight, because this has been going on too long.
Yep, I agree.
And it's not about money, it's about doing what you know is right.
Yes, sir.
Because these people is dying. I mean, everybody been died off before it be addressed again.
Yeah, some folks have died off. You're right. Thank you, brother. You don't want this back, do you? Yes. Okay. Yeah, right. All right, thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Powers. I got it. Yep. Progressive. Yep. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Alfred Munger. I'm here on the I'm listening to all these stories being told here tonight, and I'm wondering, I hadn't seen a bill in about 4 months. I've tried my best to get in contact with someone out at the water place, but you can't call out there. I done been out there twice. Nobody can simply give me an answer, tell me when they're gonna come out and read my meter, and I'm worried right now, well, am I gonna have a $1,000 bill when the bill do come, because it's been 4 months? And it's not my fault, because I always pay my bill as soon as I get it if I can. I mean, I'm never late and everything. I've tried my best to take care of it properly. But I can't understand if all this new plan, but it just hurts me that we go into a deal with a new plan that's not working. I mean, it's just a little bit of time. If it take it, do it that way and let the bill steady come. And take what you get. But the $1,000 bill, I cannot afford it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can't pay no $1,000 water bill. It's hard for me to pay this $120 a month. I mean, every 2 months. Because that's what I'm paying every 2 months. Now, I don't know the way that everybody talking. I'm gonna have a huge, huge bill. And I don't know how I'm gonna pay it. But I'm gonna come to you, Miss Mayor. I'm coming to you begging that you help me pay that bill.
Well, you don't have to beg me. My job is to make sure that it gets done. And so I'm going to do my job. You don't have to beg me for that. What we owe to you is to make sure that you get the kind of customer service that you want. The folks out the Water Sewer Billing Administration, they're working. They're strung out. And they need some help. And we're going to get them some help out there. We're going to hire some folks so that they can have the assistance that they need. What you won't have to worry about, again, if you get a bill and you one of those folks that won't do the right thing. So if you get a bill and you hadn't gotten a bill in 4 months and you do have a $1,000 water bill, that's not your fault. That is the fault of this process, and it is the fault that it's the fault of what we haven't been able to make sure that we put the kinds of measures in place to ensure that that don't happen to you. So that won't be your fault. We're not gonna hold that against you, and it's our responsibility to work with you to ensure that you get that. Water is the most valuable resource that we can offer you. It is more valuable at the end of the day than the lights. It's more valuable than gas in a lot of cases. And so we got to make sure that you got that water to do what you need to do, and we will. So if you haven't gotten that water bill yet, we need to find out where you are in the system, get you a water bill, and if there's a discrepancy there, then we want to make sure that we get it worked out, because I don't want you getting a water bill and having to come down and fuss at me. So I want us to already have that done, and we can get it worked out. There's a lady right here. They're gonna get your stuff, get your information, and they're gonna bird dog it. Now, if they don't do what they're supposed to do in following up with you, then you call and come see me.
No, I ain't gonna call you. I'm coming.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm coming.
All right.
I ain't gonna come peaceful now. I'm gonna come raise Cain.
That's fine. You supposed to raise Cain. That's fine. You supposed to raise Cain. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I just want to ask a couple of direct questions, basically. This yellow sheet here, it says phase 1 and phase 2. All right. Is both of those phases in effect right now?
No. We're in phase 1 right now, and we're not in phase 2 yet.
But I understood the young lady said we can access the data and see the graphs. Is that true?
Yes. On your
No, ma'am. I mean the online system.
the online system is being tested internally.
So we can't get there.
I'm
just asking
It has
directly.
not, the link is live, so, but it has not been publicized as yet until we test
Okay,
that.
no
Yeah.
problem. You are capturing the data from my meter. I'm saying my meter.
Yes.
You're getting that. You have that.
If you have a new meter,
My meter was installed on December the 12th of last year.
okay, then yes, we are capturing the data from
And
that
all of my
meter.
data is there.
All of that data should be there, and we can verify that if you'd like.
And at some point, I'm going to be able to graph that data myself.
At some point, you'll be able to go online and look at your usage from your meter.
Now, here's my personal problem with my bill. You know, I got to tell you this to give you the whole story, you know. December the 12th, I'm pulling out my yard. There's the man putting in my new meter. I'm going down to pay my current bill. So, okay, I know what's going on. Everything is good. And that bill was, let's see, $67.08. All right, now here we go on March the 4th. March the 4th, December 12th to March the 4th. I get a late bill. That's all I got. Zeros all on this thing. Don't know nothing. First bill. Okay, I called down there. They said, okay, you use 2,254 cubic feet. Me, one person. Bill is at $229. So at that point, I'm just going down paying $70 every 2 months. But y'all have started the estimated part of the situation. I've gotten the last 2 bills are estimated. And what that is saying, basically, y'all are basically estimating pretty good, because I went and read my meter. And okay, you seem to be getting on the ball, but my problem is the B4. I got a $60-something, $200. I'm just paying $70, but today my bill is $277.21. And I don't use that kind of water, and I don't know what y'all can do. But the information I need is that information about what went through my meter. And if I can get that, and I can know day to day, and I know it's not day to day, and you may be able to answer that, how incremental are those things taken? The data.
Right. So we're in the process of reviewing the data coming from the new meters and making sure that that is accurate before we use the automated meter data in the billing system. Because we don't want to have another issue compound the issues that we already have. What we have been able to do, we are still maintaining the old billing system. So we still have your history of usage in the old billing system to compare to the new. So when we are doing the manual estimates now, where the system has not estimated bills properly, we're going back to look at your history of usage to make sure that the consumption is in line. The problem is we have not been able to do that fast enough to get bills out manually. So what I would say to you is we would have to go back and look at what happened between when your new meter was installed, what happened to the usage there, because we did have issues, and that was part of the reason why we had the stop work period back in February with this contract. We had meter installation issues where meters were not reading properly. So those issues, we've been addressing those issues, and we would just have to take a look at your account and the meter itself.
But you said yourself, these meters are 100% accurate.
No,
Hold on, I'm
we've
saying,
said they're more accurate.
no ma'am, I'm saying, whatever the reading on my meter, you are saying that went through as far as water I used. Isn't that correct?
If the meter is functioning properly, then the
How you
red,
know it's functioning properly though?
because if your usage shoots up beyond what you normally use,
That's right.
anyone can request to have their meter checked.
I've
In
been
some
going down there
cases,
since December the 12th.
and did someone come out and check your meter?
A man came out, pulled up in a truck, got out, looked at it for 15 seconds, got back in his truck, sat down for another 90 seconds, and drove off. Now, I don't know what he did. I thought he may have had the, what they call it, the street machine, that he was reading my meter. I don't know. Do we have the street machine out there working?
So what she's saying is that your meter and meters just like yours, or your bill, when you got all those zeros, that's what triggered and said to us, all right, we got a real big problem. Once that happened, we stopped installation and work on all of these meters. I got it. Let me finish. So we saw those bills happen. As time went on, we started seeing more. Yours happened in March. Some folks were happening in December, January, but yours happened in March. When we recognized that was happening, then we were also trying to assess, how many more folks around the city are having the same kinds of problems. And as we were trying to determine how many more people around the city were having the same kinds of problems, we were also trying to look at that data that you're talking about to determine who was being affected by that and what we needed to do in order to fix it. So what I'm saying is that you said that your issue is with the old. What I believe. No, I'm saying remember you said that you don't have a problem with with some of the bills that you got a couple of months ago. The bills what your. No, so you said that your issue was what happened after they installed that new meter, right? When you was getting those zeros. So your issue was what happened at that time. And what I'm saying is that you probably, it's a chance that you have a faulty meter. The director was saying that it's somebody that if you haven't requested it, somebody needs to come out and check to make sure your meter.
Let me make two more points and I'll be. Okay, I saw somebody milling around several meters.
Okay.
I didn't know if he was an official person or not, but he was going around looking in the box. After that, my meter started reading correctly. But I went down, they saying, oh, you're gonna get an adjustment. Well, we don't know anything about adjustments. So I'm saying, well, you saying you're gonna send the man out and he's gonna check it, and when he check it, we're gonna adjust it. I don't think the adjustment is in my scope right now because I may have to go the other route as to the appeal process, but that's what I gotta do. But what I wanna know is, whatever number is showing on my meter, you all are saying I got to pay that, basically.
What we're saying is that the number that's on your meter should be, if it's been adjusted, and according to you, somebody came out and adjusted it.
No adjustment. Oh, I don't know if he adjusted. You mean?
Well, you say it started reading right. After he came and pitter-pattered around, you said it started reading right.
I seen him in my box. I seen him in other boxes.
All right.
So I don't know, he probably did hit my box, but I didn't see that.
All right, so if the number, it should be reading right. If it's not, and you've got an issue with your bill, then we want to address the issue with your bill. And we're not saying that the only way you have to pay that is if at the end of that, we determine that that is absolutely the right read. If not, then we will adjust and do what we need to do.
Okay, when do I get in that process of somebody determining what you just said?
It starts right now. All right. Again, look, sir. Again, y'all, we get it. We know full well that this process is a horrible process that all of y'all are having to deal with and go through. And we're not running from that, and we're not trying to hide behind anything. And what we're here tonight to do and to say to you is that we want to be sure that we're addressing this in the best possible way that we can. We got a lot of issues. These issues have resulted, or come about rather, as a result of a plan trying to be put in place years ago with this Siemens contract, and it just hasn't been panning out the way that we would like for it to. But again, we're the right team at the right time to get us through these issues, and we know that because we're able to identify the issues and start to do the kinds of things in conjunction with Siemens to try to remedy it and to get some solutions to you. We heard a great suggestion from the audience tonight. I'll be following up on that suggestion tomorrow to see how that could work in real life. And those are the kinds of things that we're asking y'all to do. If you have suggestions, come, talk to us. We want to hear it. If you have any more issues, if there are some things that you need to know more specifically, don't hesitate to call our Constituency Services Office at 601-960-1084. Those folks want to work with you. They want to answer the phone. They want to be attentive. Work with us. The Water Sewer Business Administration, the folks out there their heads are underwater. They are drowning with the amount of work that they're having to do as a result of this transition and this process. So y'all, please, they're frustrated like you're frustrated. They're upset like you're upset, and a lot of them are experiencing the same kind of issues in their families as you are. So again, God bless y'all. If there's any other issues, we're hanging around, and you can talk to us about that, all right? Thank you.